Arlingtonians pause over a long holiday weekend to honor the men and women in uniform who left home to defend our nation and never returned. ACMi takes you to a solemn Town Hall Memorial Day ceremony. For months, town leaders and residents have been very vocal about the possibility of a new Arlington high school. Now it's the students' turn, and they have plenty to say. This as Arlington votes on their future in a matter of days. This Mass Ave building has been dormant for about a year now, but soon Arlington residents could raise a glass to its possible revival. And we'll show you what the old Balich 5 and 10 building could look like before the year is out. And if you can't wait that long for a potent potable, we have a little summer garden party to tell you about. It's free, fun, family-oriented, and flowing. This is ACMi News.
2 votes are coming up on June 11th, one to fund increasing costs of town services and the other to fund a new high school. Hello, I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm James Milan. The matter of funding a new multi-million-dollar high school to ease crowding and building conditions has been at the forefront of town discussions.
But there is another group who wants their say now, students. Assistant News Director Brenda Mahoney joins us now with more. Brenda?
Thanks, Paul. We got a chance to see what Arlington High School is like for students, visiting them in classrooms, the library, music and CAD lab, and hearing about how the school's conditions affect them. Some going as far as saying they wouldn't wish the building on anyone. Despite that, they try to foster a positive culture and will fight for a building that matches it.
I love Arlington High. I love my teachers and my classes.
It's a high energy level. It's pretty full of life.
Yeah.
It's a school full of really energetic kids, and it's a school with teachers who care about the students and want them to learn.
But at Arlington High School, a sprawling campus with buildings constructed nearly every generation from 1914 to the 1980s, it's getting harder to do that, say those who are in it.
When people ask me about my school, and they're like, oh, the beautiful pillars at the front. And I'm like, you should see the inside. It's horrible.
From the triangular-shaped French room to blocked views in science rooms to the cramped band room, the sentiment is the same.
I think the renovation, just a renovation wouldn't be enough to...
Yeah, I think it took us about I don't know, 10 years to get an air conditioning unit installed in this room.
I think also in general, the school, you kind of walk around the hallways and it doesn't really always feel like a positive learning environment.
And that's why AHS could go from this to this. A $291 million brand new high school.
Having the new school says that we as an Arlington community value education and value the environment in which our students are learning.
Superintendent Kathleen Bodie and an appointed high school building committee have been working on coming up with a building plan for several years. In 2013, the New England Association of Schools and Colleges said the school would lose its accreditation unless things such as inadequate room sizes and blocked views are changed.
Some rooms are just built just designed kind of weirdly. It's just funny with there's big objects just in the way.
You don't understand how much time we spend working around the building. I have to do my labs in sections so that everybody can have some electricity. We'll make it work for now, as it is, but I think a new facility would really help us do more.
This is Old Hall, the oldest part of Arlington High School, originally built in 1914. It's a time when students weren't even required to go to high school. In fact, many didn't, working on local farms instead. But society changed, wars were fought, and the focus on education grew, and each time a new building with it. And now educators say it's time to start from scratch to serve this generation and the ones to come.
We actually have the entire body of this guitar all cut out just with this one machine.
We know that we teach differently now than we did in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We know that the demands and expectations on education have changed. And we know that this facility doesn't support even the way we are teaching now.
I think that everyone initially believed that we were going to do a renovation addition. So in terms of space, we're not really getting anything new. We're getting it redesigned in a different way.
You can look straight across and see the other one right there. So the links
don't border any classrooms. They are pretty much unsupervisable, so it's where a lot of kids go when they don't want to be seen.
The proposed school would reduce hallway space, and wings would be organized by subject. And it would accommodate a growing student body, 1,700 plus students, roughly 400 more than there are now.
Balcony, seriously? Balcony.
When showing these sophomore honors biology students the architectural rendering, surprise and excitement at what could be.
Okay, here we go.
That's big.
Ooh. Here's the gym.
Ooh.
It's gonna be awesome. I know I won't be able to like go to school in it, but like it's just like really exciting to think about.
Just like people in town, some students remiss on losing part of the front lawn and the columns that grace it, but willing to let them go for the greater good.
My parents and my grandparents also went to this high school, so it's kind of sad that history is being lost. But at the same time, I feel like it might the benefits that we're going to be able to reap from it is probably worth it.
A hope that adults will think the same when voting whether or not to change their future come June 11th.
I'd say do it. I would not wish this building on any of the kids who are younger than me.
If your headlight is out, you get arrested, right? Or at least fined by the police, right? I feel like the headlight's out.
Having a nice space to learn makes people want to learn. I think that's something really important for the future.
In the meantime, they'll do as the song says. Keep on fighting till the end. Students championing a new high school till the end. But ultimately, it's voters who will make the decision on Tuesday, June 11th. If you want to see the high school for yourself, you have one more chance. There will be tours on Sunday, June 2nd, starting at 1 in the afternoon. Next week, we'll have a closer look at classrooms and more on just what and how students are learning these days. James?
Thanks, Brenda. Arlington remembered its heroes earlier this week at a Memorial Day ceremony. At Town Hall, dozens of people gathered to pay tribute to those men and women in uniform who paid with their lives serving this country so that we can live in freedom. This national holiday is also considered the unofficial start of the summer season. But these people took a moment to remember the sacrifice of our military service members, first responders, and their families. This solemn day of remembrance is often felt most deeply among loved ones and communities who have personally lost sons, daughters, mothers, and fathers. A chair from the back row at Town Hall was removed and a plaque was added to it to remember 3 Arlingtonians who are still missing in action. Keynote speaker, Brigadier General Francis McGurn of the Massachusetts Army National Guard challenged all of us, who at times can take all the blessings we have for granted.
And it's a very unusual tribute that I ask of you, and it may even sound a little political. I assure you it is not. I don't wear this uniform for political purposes, so it doesn't matter if there's an R next to your name or a D, or whose bumper sticker is on your car. I suggest that the greatest tribute we can pay to those families is to hold our elected leaders accountable for the decision to send our armed forces into harm. I haven't suddenly become a pacifist after 37 years in uniform. I know the reality of warfare will never fade. But we owe it to these people that be our commitment to them and to those we honor today. I want to thank you for your heartfelt support and this exceptional Memorial Day remembrance. May God bless us all.
Wreath-laying ceremonies followed this event, reminding us all that this day is both a celebration and one of grief, a solemn accounting for the honor of our brave men and women in uniform and reflecting on their tragic loss.
A bunch of people walk into a bar. This is not a joke. The Heights is on tap to get its own sit-down restaurant and pub.
And the setting is an old favorite building of Arlington Heights. ACMi's Jeff Barton reports, if everything goes down smoothly, Arlington Heights residents will soon have something to toast.
This is what the Balich 5 and 10 building on Mass Ave looks like inside now, but in a few months, it could look like this. The lessee who runs the First House Pub in Winchester wants to bring a pub like this to his hometown of Arlington Heights, and it would be the only sit-down restaurant pub in this part of town.
I'm really looking forward to it. I grew up in Arlington, so and especially in the Heights. I remember walking down when I was a kid to D'Agostino's and Balich, and just knew there was a need for something with a full liquor license in the Heights, and felt that it will do well and be good for the community as well.
Jim says he's not wasting any time getting a pub up and running. Ideally, he's looking at late fall, early winter of this year to open what will be known as the Heights Pub.
I definitely, think it's going to be good for the community and be able to walk down, get something to eat, get something to drink, and be able to relax. I know I was looking for it when I was, when I lived in Arlington. So I just think it'll, bring the community together and have a place to gather.
Jim O'Rourke tells me that the First House Pub can accommodate up to 70 people. It has 2,000 square feet, and a lot of the people who come into the First House Pub are regulars from this area. They just come in for a little bar food, some American fare, maybe a few drinks. They just want to sit back in a quaint locale, kick back, and relax. Meantime, here in Arlington Heights, the Balich building is slightly larger at 2,100 square feet. But since Arlington Heights has about the same type of atmosphere as downtown Winchester, Jim O'Rourke wants to keep his clientele to a maximum of about 70 people. So a building that for more than 60 years was a 5 and 10 could soon become a building where you can order a 7 and 7 if Jim gets his way. Jim's Winchester Pub is in an area very similar to the Heights, and he says before signing the lease, he investigated the parking issue.
There's 29 spots on Park Ave, Davis Road. There are no houses on there, so all those spots are available. And then right on Mass Ave, I have gone through at night, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night before we signed the lease to make sure that there was going to be spots, and there always seemed to be plenty.
If the deal goes through, this will be a very familiar sound in the Heights. And with 65 to 70 people bringing good spirits into this venerable but empty building, Jim says he wants to run a pub where everybody knows his name.
I'm very excited. I think it's every restaurant owner's dream to, be in their hometown. And I'm really looking forward to help the community out and start doing business there.
For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barnes.
O'Rourke tells Jeff that the next step is the Zoning Board, the Select Board, and finally the State Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. Getting through all that paperwork takes roughly 4 months.
While you're waiting to tip 1 or 2 back at the Heights Pub and you're in the mood for a little Mexican food, you're in luck. Jose's Torta Mexicana restaurant is now open for business. This restaurant at 793 Mass Ave had a soft opening roughly 2 weeks ago, and workers here say they've received nothing but praise since their doors open. Jose's features eat-in and takeout. If this restaurant sounds familiar to you, this family-owned business also has a Mexican eatery in North Cambridge. One restaurant manager says now Arlingtonians won't have to travel all the way to North Cambridge for fine, delectable Mexican and Tex-Mex fare.
It's a different format here. We're not like full service, but we are going to focus more on tortas. We have some more like Tex-Mex fare as well, like fajitas and quesadillas and chimichangas. But I really think the thing that sets us apart here is our the meat variety, especially the quality of meat. I really like the carnitas here. My uncle is really good at with pork. So if you ever come, to try our torta, I recommend like a michoacana, which is our carnitas torta, and it's just really tender and juicy. It's the best.
Eduardo tells us the bread, which is baked daily, is to die for. Jose's will officially open on June 10th, and rumor has it there will be a mariachi band to welcome new and regular patrons.
A professor at Northeastern University and a longtime Arlington resident has just released a new book that is fitting for the times in which we live and is a guide for students to what's known as experiential learning. Dr. Joni Lamacchia co-wrote a book entitled Look Up. It's a guide that examines the choices students must make as they navigate through schools of higher learning in our increasingly global society, and that what they learn outside the classroom is just as important as what they read in a book.
I think the relevance at this particular moment in our society is that we're a very global mobile, fast-paced, interconnected society. And our students are literally traveling everywhere, changing careers multiple times. It's a different, things are evolving in a way that's much more fast-paced and connected. And so having opportunities for our students to do learning and understand the value of learning outside of the classroom is really important for that. Not only do they have opportunities to meet people from diverse perspectives and historical contexts, but they also have an opportunity to kind of see what they bring to the world and how they connect with others, and bring this back to the classroom, study a little bit more, and then go back out and test it out. So a way to apply their learning.
Dr. Lamacchia's book is co-authored by John Andrew and prepares students to be intellectually pliable in this fast-paced world, both personally and professionally.
It's now peak season for the river herring to migrate from the Atlantic to the freshwaters of the Mystic River to lay their eggs. As they spawn, they have to run through the Mystic Lake's dam with the use of what's called a fish ladder. This ladder allows them to swim from the lower Mystic Lake to the upper Mystic Lake. This week, the Mystic River Watershed Association held an open house at the dam where community members and river herring monitors are counting this year's migration. Last year, the association tallied nearly 700,000 river herring, and they're hoping for even more this year. Experts say giving the river herring a fish ladder to swim further north opens up an enormous habitat, which hopefully will increase their population even more.
So river herring are what we call an indicator species, and so a lot of people, we tell them about the migration and they think it's cool, but they still ask, why fish, why river herring? And when we see a lot of river herring, that the water quality is decent enough to support them, there's enough habitat for them to live in and spawn in, and they're also food for other animals in the ecosystem, so bald eagles and osprey and cormorants, all sorts of other birds and wildlife. We have seen return of bald eagles to this area in part because of the return of the river herring. And also, the more we know about the river herring and the larger the migrating population we have, we're better able to advocate for clean water and for healthy habitats and other policies and improvements that will help us protect and restore this watershed.
I've been the state representative for about 10 years, and the first project I really worked on was trying to get the money from the state to do the Upper Mystic Dam rehabilitation project, including the fish ladder that we're able to witness right here, and to be able to secure that money with the help of the mayor's office and the rest of the Medford legislative delegation, and to really be able to see it this time each year in its fruition, where you have people walking over to the fish ladder and witnessing the herring run, and being able to go to the eel box and witness the eels who are endangered. The American eel is an endangered species, and to be able to witness that really just proves how important this investment was to make.
This dam was renovated with a fish ladder 7 years ago. Erica Wood tells ACMi News during spawning season, from mid-April through June, literally thousands of river herring will pass through the fish ladder each hour.
We have 2 Arlington garden parties to tell you about. One celebrates Arlington's rich, magnificent history, reminding us of who we are as a tight-knit community.
And the other garden party allows us to celebrate on a weekly basis our divine tight-knittedness. It's a word that, after about 2 of these, you'll probably have a tough time saying. That and more when we come back.
Hey, you should submit that to FidoFest. Arlington's annual dog film festival. It's this August 3rd, where you get to watch your dog videos on a big screen in Spire Pond Field.
It's really easy. All you gotta do is post this video to YouTube. Say it's for FidoFest and publish. Don't forget to copy the link. Then head on over to acmi.tv/FidoFest. Submit your dog video, fill out your name, your last name, and your email address. Paste your YouTube link, and submit. Yay, you did it! You're the best owner! I love you! Gosh, I hope I win for cutest.
Thinking of staycations and long weekends this summer in Arlington, but wondering what to do? Boy, do we have a great suggestion for you. The Suds are once again flowing this week at Whittemore Park. This year, the events take place every Saturday, June through September, from noon to 7 p.m., and the Aeronaut Brewing Company will once again be pouring the cold ones. If it rains, count on Sundays to be the rain dates. These events are free and family-friendly. There will be music, games, and the perfect social atmosphere where neighbors can catch up with each other after the long, cold winter slumber. They can celebrate the fact that the only thing cold now will be the fresh, effervescent, sparkling, vivacious, high-spirited libation handed down to us 5,000 years ago from those brilliant ancient Egyptians. This summer at Whittemore Park, we will keep this marvelous tradition alive, where beauty will be in the eye of the beer holder.
Meantime, Arlington already held a very special and long-awaited garden party to mark its rich history earlier this month. Several residents, some dressed in period garb, were celebrating the restoration of the Winfield Robbins Memorial Garden on May 18th. This project was made possible by the Arlington Garden Club, Arlington's Historical Commission, the Cyrus Dallin Art Museum, Friends of Robbins Town Gardens, and the town of Arlington. This majestic and historical landscape was first designed 108 years ago and redesigned in 1939. The restoration of the reflecting pool and plantings was made possible by a 2017 Community Preservation Act grant to the Friends of the Robbins Town Gardens and the Arlington Historical Commission. Arlington's own world-renowned sculptor Cyrus Dallin's Monotony Hunter statue was restored by the town 2 years ago.
What an incredible day to be able to have this party. You know, over the course of this week with the weather we've been having, there was no sure things, but it really turned out well. And I want to say thank you to the Friends, who have really been the group that over the past 5 years has pushed this forward to the point where we're able to celebrate something so special. I want to thank the leadership of the Select Board working with the Friends to make this happen. But I want to specifically thank Jim Feeney, who, working with the Community Preservation Act Committee, really has helped on the ground this project come to fruition. Jim's the assistant town manager, works for the town, right through the project, was out here every day making sure things were going well. And even earlier today, was out here with his skimmer, fishing leaves and rocks, and $1.25 and change that will go towards the operation and maintenance of the fountain.
As Arlington grew in the late 19th and 20th centuries, the Robbins family gave their time and wealth to the betterment of the town. The Robbins sisters, Eliza, Ida, and Kyra, oversaw the construction of Town Hall and the magnificent gardens, like this outdoor masterpiece.
As the school year draws to a close, this will be our last Ponderscope until next semester starts. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening at Arlington High.
On the contrary, here's Sam Derringer with a look at this week's Ponderscope from Studio B.
Welcome to the Ponderscope, your Arlington High School news, updates, and more. Upcoming finals got you stressing? The Robbins Library has an answer for you. Stop by the library for Wellness Week, June 4th, 5th, and 6th. Activities will range from yoga to arts and crafts to hanging out with therapy dogs. All activities will be held in the community room. For more information, please make sure to contact teen librarian Katie Kanya at kkanya@minlib.net. On June 8th, the Arlington community will come together in the fight against cancer. The annual Relay for Life fundraising event for the American Cancer Society will take place at the AHS track from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. The event consists of teams who walk around the track continuously throughout the night. Not only do the teams raise money for cancer research, but they show that the fight against cancer will never sleep. The auditions for next year's select groups in the performing arts are rapidly approaching. Auditions for the Madrigal Singers will happen on June 10th and June 13th, while auditions for the Jazz Band and Honors Orchestra will take place on June 11th and June 12th. Please contact Ms. Kitchen and/or Mr. D'Agostino for more details. The Arlington Building Committee is currently working to pass legislation to begin the process of building the new high school. Fellow students and faculty have been working over the past few months to spread awareness about the current state of the building. An upcoming town-wide debt exclusion vote will occur on Tuesday, June 11th, and will officially decide as to whether the new high school will be built. For more information and ways to get involved, visit ahsbuilding.org. I'm Sam Derringer, and this has been the Ponder Scope.
How are the Spy Ponders gearing up for this summer season? And another exclusive interview with one of the Bay State's greatest runners.
Let's go back to Studio B, where Alex Van Thong is standing by.
Hello, Arlington sports lovers, and welcome to another edition of your ACMi Sports Update. At the blink of an eye, the regular spring season is coming to an end this week, with the playoffs right around the corner. Although you will not be seeing the boys lacrosse team in the tournament, the boys managed to end their season with a wonderful home win against Bromfield School.
And what does he see? He sees another force play in the middle, but it's picked up by Kerr. Kerr sends it over to Brendan McKinney. McKinney finds, Brendan McKinney finds his brother Justy with a scoop shot. And the brother, look, it's brotherly love.
So far, boys tennis and girls softball have clinched a position in the tournament, while girls tennis needs one more win, and the boys on the baseball field need 2 more wins. You may recall running phenom Ryan Oosting took home the 800-meter run win for Arlington at the Middlesex League Championship recently. Oosting met with ACMi News Director Jeff Barn to talk about his prospects for running for the Netherlands on the world stage.
I know you can run for either the USA or Netherlands, correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, I guess your choice would be the US, or does it matter?
It only matters if you've represented that country earlier that year. You can't really switch in one calendar year.
Okay, so would you be representing the Netherlands then?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I've already started there, and I consider myself more Dutch than American, as controversial as it may sound.
No, I don't think it is either. Tell us about your Dutch background and why do you feel that way?
Well, my mom is completely Dutch. My dad is half Dutch. His mom was completely Dutch, is completely Dutch. So that makes me 3/4. You know, most of my family lives there. I've spent a great deal of time there. I go and visit almost every year, or every year at least once. And I just feel comfortable there. Still working on the language stuff, but we're getting there.
So it really is an honor then, without a doubt. I mean, it's more than just running for a country. It's running for your heritage, your family tree, your genealogy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oosting tells ACMi he does have his eye on the 2024 Olympic Games as he gets ready to attend Stanford University in the fall. From ACMi Sports at Studio B, I'm Alex Van Thong. Back to you at Studio A.
Thanks, Alex. And of course, stay with us for all your latest news and sports updates. That'll do it for us here in Studio A. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm James Milan. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or you wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by our Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.